So if we sell the house for 305 K, which is what it's listed at now, what we would end up with after the brokerage fees and everything would be $280,168. And that with the differences in assets, that I would get $166,343, and he would get $1,113,826, and that would be with him taking on the debt of that we owe to my parents.
Are you disputing anything she's proposed?
Yes, Your Honor.
What are you disputing?
The house is an asset. The debt to her parents is joint. The house and the debt should be split 50-50.
After their divorce, she wants more than half of the proceeds from the house, while refusing to take any responsibility for the couple's debt, despite the fact that it was incurred during their marriage. Now she claims the debt has nothing to do with her. It seems she's only interested in the family's assets.
All right. Have you already split up your personal property?
Except for the house that we are living in, we are
Okay.
fairly split, yes.
All right. So there's some real estate here. And where is that real estate located?
As far as our house or the
Your
land
house.
that we own?
Okay. You
It
have
is a,
house and land then?
yes.
Okay.
Um,
The house is where?
It is at 520 Woodstone Place, Andover, Kansas, 67002.
How do you propose that real estate be dealt with?
I have a list of assets that I put what I guesstimated the value of stuff to be. And as we split that up, um, I would like things to be 50-50 down the middle, and with just the house making things equal with what he gets and what I get.
Okay. Right now you're in the house in Andover?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you proposing that you keep it long-term?
No, it is on the market now. It's
okay.
actually under contract, and it should sell on June 2nd.
All right. So your proposal on disposition of the proceeds would be what?
I have a paper here that I tried to email, but apparently my work email will not allow me to email out. But I can see. I've got a fair amount of paperwork here, but I don't know what's easiest for you. The amount that we owe is owed to my parents, and so that would be some of the debt that we have. But basically at the house, I don't know if this is easy to read or not. That's what I came up with what Toby would get from the house and what I would get from the house.
It's not. So would you just go ahead and read those numbers into the record?
Oh, yes. So if we sell the house for 305 K, which is what it's listed at now, what we would end up with after the brokerage fees and everything would be $280,168. And that with the differences in assets, that I would get $166,343, and he would get $1,113,826, and that would be with him taking on the debt of that we owe to my parents.
She wants to receive more money from the house sale than he does, but on top of that, he would also be responsible for all their debt. Somehow, she doesn't believe the debt should be split equally. They bought the house together and borrowed money from her parents as a couple. Yet now that the house is being sold, he is expected to repay the entire debt to her parents on his own. It seems she might need to retake a course in multiplication and division. She clearly needs it.
Okay. Do you think that that's fair, just, and equitable?
I do.
Now, the personal property, furniture, appliances, clothes, other stuff, that's already been split up?
Yeah. Or
Okay.
no?
Okay. Cars and that kind of thing?
Oh.
All right. Are you wanting a previous name restored?
Yes, sir.
What is that name?
Aaron Renee Madonna.
Okay. All right. Have you discussed this proposal with him before today?
Yes.
Okay. Did he agree to it?
I'm not entirely sure. He said that we still needed to work on some stuff, but I was never able to get really talk to him about it.
Okay. Are there other debts that need to be allocated besides anything that you've covered so far?
Not that I'm aware of.
All right. Okay. Mr. Hargrove,
Yes, Your Honor.
you patiently waited for her to complete her testimony here. Are you disputing anything she's proposed?
Yes, Your Honor.
What are you disputing?
The house is an asset. The debt to her parents is joint. The house and the debt should be split 50-50.
The approach he's taking to their situation is reasonable and fair. Since they're splitting things in half, that principle should apply across the board. She can't selectively decide what should and shouldn't be divided. This is the first time I've seen someone openly say they want the money of their joint asset, but have no responsibility for the joint debt, despite knowing it was incurred during the marriage. She'll probably argue that he was the one who asked her parents for the money, so it's his debt, but that's not how things work. She gets more than 2/3 of the house money and he gets the debt. He better get a lawyer. Why would he be totally responsible for the debt? The debt owed to her parents is a joint debt, so it should be split 50-50. He would be on the hook for his half, and it would be up to her parents to collect her half. Now I would like more context about the debt they owe her parents, and why she thinks he should pay it and not the both of them. Debt to her parents should be up to her.
And the list of assets. So my personal feeling is most of the assets were obtained in Colorado. And during the time in Colorado, I provided the majority of the income. There was actually a couple years where I made over twice what she made. And there are a number of things that are just inaccurate and incorrect on the paperwork.
All right.
And it all needs to be corrected.
As he pointed out, most of the assets were acquired while he was earning more than twice her income. Yet somehow she still believes he should walk away with less after the sale, and on top of that, be solely responsible for the couple's debt. He contributed more financially toward acquiring those properties, but now she thinks she should receive the larger share. That's certainly an interesting perspective. I can't help but wonder what her reasoning is behind that calculation.
All right, Mr. Hargrove, I'm going to stop you there. What I want to do, I want to look over the paperwork in this file for a few minutes before we resume.
Yes, Your Honor.
Things are a little more complicated than I anticipated here. I'll take a brief recess. Please stay with the Zoom meeting.
Yes, Your Honor.
And I will reconvene here in just 5 to 10 minutes. The court has now had an opportunity to look over the only domestic relations affidavit that's been filed in the case. Normally, when there are contested matters, each party files their own affidavit setting forth their views regarding assets and debts. I do have Aaron's that was filed some time ago that identifies the income of the parties, bank accounts, household budgets, does identify the debt owed apparently to Aaron's parents, as well as credit card and some other expenses, and then identifies the two properties, the Woodstone Place property and then Cedar Point. I think it's going to be unwieldy to handle it by Zoom today. I don't even know if the other party has each other's materials. And you need to know what the other one's going to present. The other thing I could do is I could give you a breakout session, which is a private session that you two could talk while we're all here together. This part would not be public in any way, and I wouldn't hear it. But you guys could talk to each other and see if there isn't any way you can kind of narrow the gap here or even settle things. Okay, before we go any further, I don't think it's going to hurt to put you two in a breakout room. You're on Zoom. You both should be comfortable with that conversation.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
That part's not recorded, not publicly broadcast, and I don't hear it. So we'll put you in a private session, just let you two talk for a few minutes. And then when you're ready, come back on with your full video, and we'll resume proceedings in court. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Let's
How
pause
do we-
recording and broadcasting, Mandy, and let's go ahead and put those two in a breakout room. Just allow them to talk and perhaps converse about the issues of the case. Court's in recess.
The house is absolutely 50-50 if acquired together. If the parents helped financially, they are both responsible to split what's owed to them. It shouldn't just come out of his portion. Wow, is she greedy? House should be split if both paid it, and both owe her parents if that's the case. Just because he has more assets don't mean she should get more from sale of the house. He has to pay your parents for both of y'all's debit? This woman is crazy. You both pay off the debit to your parents.
All right. Have you already split up your personal property?
Except for the house that we are living in, we are
Okay.
fairly split. Yes.
All right.
Based on her own statement, they've fairly divided everything they owned except for the property. With that in mind, if she truly believes things have been split equally up to this point, why should she keep the majority of the proceeds from the house sale? That's what I'm struggling to understand. It would be a different matter entirely if she were saying the previous division wasn't fair and she was trying to even things out now through the house sale and the current debt. But that's not what she's claiming, which makes it difficult to understand. This is something we see quite often. Many people prefer a partner or relationship where they don't have to split the bill. But when it comes time to divide assets after a breakup, some are the first to adopt a different mindset. In this case, she wants more than 50% of their assets, and to make things even more interesting, she doesn't want any part of the shared debt. That's what I find so puzzling about this situation. Some people would approach it more reasonably and be open to splitting everything equally, but she seems to have a very different idea.
You're not gonna take gifts back. When you do that, you look hurt. You look so hurt and petty. I've been there. I've definitely been there when someone's given me something and asks for it back. And I'm like, you were so petty. That is not a man. How does that make you a man? Giving me something and trying to take it back from me? If you are investing in me and getting me a car or putting me in an apartment, I have children. I'm gonna make sure as a woman that I'm telling you right then and there, if we break up, I'm still keeping that. You're not gonna take me out of a car. You're not gonna take me out of an apartment. What type of man is that? I'm sorry, that is uncalled for, and I don't believe in those type of things. I'm not gonna throw myself in a car that a man is buying for me unless I know that he's gonna make sure he's paying those payments afterwards. I'm definitely gonna be vocal about it. I don't think that it makes you a man when you are in a situation and you're giving something to somebody and then taking it back just because they...
If her definition of a man is someone who continues to cover an ex's expenses even after the relationship is over, then by that standard, most of us wouldn't qualify because we're not doing it. If that's what she's looking for, she'll need to find simps to play that role.
hurt you. Money doesn't buy love. And I feel like that's where guys go wrong. Guys will spend all this and do all this for you, and then when it goes left and the relationship is not working, they'll be like, but I did this and I did that and I bought you this. Money is not gonna buy you love.
So let me ask you a question,
I'm
Naisha.
sorry.
This man comes in and puts a car in his name and is paying this expensive ass car with the car you want. Not the car you need, the car you want. You now break up with him and you driving another man in the car that he's still paying every month, whether you got kids or not. That is wrong.
I get it.
Moral of the story: stop buying very expensive gifts for women unless it's your wife. As a mom, why does a man have to be the one to buy you a car and secure your place of living? Because now you're being an irresponsible parent. But why can't you buy your own car or get the things you want for yourself? Aren't you an adult? She sounds like a 15-year-old. Those gifts that he provided was for your loyalty. When your loyalty no longer exists, the gifts need to be returned back to him. I think most people would agree that this is delusion. Why would a man continue paying for an ex's expenses when they're no longer together? especially when she's already moved on and is in a new relationship. Just from this video, it's obvious she's surrounded by simps to the point where she seems to have lost touch with what's reality. Whenever I see this kind of content, I can't help but wonder, would she feel the same if the roles were reversed? Imagine if her brother or son were in a situation where a woman expected him to keep paying for a car he used to finance during their relationship. I bet she'd likely see that it wasn't normal,